this is Cheryl Jones, the Queen of Hearts. I am here with Tuesday Talk with the Queen of Hearts. Y'all, okay, today, y'all are going to need your pen and paper because when I tell you I have one of the best business people in the world, not just in Dallas, Texas, y'all. I'm talking about in the world, here in the audience, and I'm so excited that our paths cross. Hey, Mr. Dennis, please tell the crowd all about yourself.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. I really appreciate you having me today,
welcome.
and I'm excited about being here. Well, I'm a business consultant. I'm a real estate investor for over 50 years.
Wow.
I teach real estate investing. I do public speaking. Most of my time is spent writing.
Oh, okay.
I'm an author. Just completed Real Impact Daily Inspiration, the book I think that you have and that you read, and I'm working on 8 other books.
Oh, wow.
I have one that's coming out this month called The Laws of Nature for Success.
Wow.
And I've been working on that book since 1975. So
that's been a slow start for that one. That's good. I'm glad it's completed.
50 years.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
It took 50 years of research to get it ready, and I'm really excited about it. It should be out by the end of April.
That's awesome.
And then I have a group of real estate books. It's a series of 5 real estate books.
Okay.
One of them's already published. The next one, How to Get Started Investing in Real Estate, is coming out this month.
Awesome.
So a lot of things going on right now.
Awesome. I'm so excited about that. But back up a little bit and tell us where you're from.
Originally, I'm from Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah,
Lower LA. Okay. Yeah. LA, Lower Alabama.
But I've been in Texas for 35 years.
Okay, so this is home, huh?
Yeah,
wow,
it's
that's
home.
awesome.
I still love Alabama football and basketball, but I live in Arlington, Texas.
Awesome. And you guys don't have the benefit of seeing his beautiful wife, but I'd like for you to tell us about your beautiful wife.
Well, my wife's Norma. She's from Mexico. We've been married 20 years this year.
Awesome.
And she's the love of my life. She's such a wonderful person and helper and friend. And, yeah, I wouldn't be anything without her.
That's awesome. See, he said all that right, didn't he? Just like you wrote it, huh?
So I get a ride home.
There you go. You get a ride home, definitely. Well, I am so excited for you to be here today. As I thought about our interview, I thought about he knows that readers are leaders. And y'all, I tell y'all that all the time. Readers are leaders. If you want to see a significant change in your life, one of the songs that I listened to, the guy says, I went from being, what did he say, broke to being blessed. And when I think about reading, when I think about leadership skills, I think about all that stuff. You can honestly take yourself, if you're on bankruptcy today, you can look out 5 years from now and you could actually be a millionaire. You really could in 5 years, really probably closer to 3 if you do things right. So tell us a little bit about those success habits, Dennis, and how you know that that's how you start the thing. So we're going to talk to a person that's down on their luck today. Tell us how they would change their life.
I was on a podcast one time, and the host said, Dennis, why are your students so successful?
Yeah.
I had real estate investor students, and the word got out really fast when I started teaching. So I was invited to speak at real estate investor groups throughout the nation.
Wow.
Expos. Podcasts were just coming out.
Right. Okay.
And I got invited to a big one, and the host said, Dennis, why are your students so successful? Yeah. And I said, well, I have them change their habits.
Yep.
If they can form success habits, they will become successful.
Absolutely.
Then he said, Dennis, what's the #1 success habit?
There you go.
And I said, they should form the habit of reading something positive every day that leads them toward their ultimate goal. So after the podcast was over, Cheryl, I was thinking, man, that was really the right answer. Wouldn't it be great if there were a tool, something that would help people form that habit, like an app or a book? And then it hit me. I met Jim Rohn back in the mid-'70s.
Wow.
And he said, Dennis, write everything down in the journal, write everything down. So I had just started in business, and the company gave me 3 books. They gave me Think and Grow Rich,
Oh, yeah.
Success, the Glenn Bland Method, and The Greatest Salesman in the World by
Right,
Mendino.
Mendino, yeah.
And after I read those books, I was so exhilarated.
Yeah.
I mean, I was euphoric.
Yeah.
It was almost like I'd taken a drug. I was just high as a kite.
right.
And I thought, I've got to have more of those books.
Right.
Where can I find those? Well, back in 1975, there wasn't an internet.
Wow. Yeah.
There wasn't a Google or a YouTube. So if you wanted to find out something, you had to go and find a successful person and say, what are you reading?
Right.
What's really inspired you? And so I got a lot of suggestions, and I read a lot of books, but only a few of them really, really motivated and moved. So I listed those.
Oh.
And I was just getting started. I had all of North Florida and South Georgia, so I was driving every day, and I wanted to listen while I was driving. So there was a company in Waco called SMI, and you would sign up, and they would send you 2 motivational tapes.
Yes,
you'd listen to
I
them.
remember that. Yeah.
So you'd send it back. They'd send you 2 more.
Yes, I remember that.
So I got a duplicating machine, and as soon as the tapes
Oh,
got there,
that was good.
I duplicated them and sent them back. So I got this big library of tapes.
Right.
I must have had 200 or 300. I don't know. I had tapes all over one room. And I would listen to them, and when I would hear a poem or a story or a quote, I would put it in the journal. I'd pull the car off the road and say, I got to remember this.
Yeah.
And so I did that for 50 years.
Wow.
And after that podcast, I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if there were some kind of a tool? And then it hit me.
You got the tool.
I got all these quotes and poems.
Yeah.
And I can put these in a book, and then people can form the habit.
That's it.
Regardless of their time.
That's it.
If they have 5 minutes, they read a poem.
Yeah.
If they have an hour, they can read a short story. If they have 3 hours, they can read one of the books listed in the back. And if they get home and they're exhausted, they lay their head on the pillow and, oh, I forgot to read.
Yeah.
Flip over to the back of the book and read a quote, 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
Yep.
And dream about some really positive quote by Seneca or Socrates or Aristotle or me.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. You're up there with the big dogs. Yeah, definitely. I love that, Dennis. And I know that in real estate, that is a wonderful way to go from, being poor to being wealthy or whatnot. What is some of the best things that you've seen in terms of students putting that into action? They say that applied knowledge is what's needed. You just can't have the knowledge. You have to apply it. Have you had a lot of students that sometimes they may take your advice and not do anything with it?
Pretty much all of them. But earlier, before the podcast, we were talking about your mentor, how he held you accountable.
Yes. Oh, my goodness, scary.
That's how I taught my students. I would give them assignments.
Right.
And some of those were numbers. How many houses you're going to see, how many offers you're going to make, how many this and this and that.
Right.
And so the next week they'd come in and we'd sit down and I'd say, okay, you said you were going to go see this many. How many did you see?
Yeah.
And they'd say, well, I didn't quite. I said, well, why not? Well,
right.
I'm busy. Then I would get really upset with them.
Right.
I'd say, you gave me a lot of money.
Right.
To teach you how to do this. Why are you wasting your money?
Right.
And why are you wasting my time?
My time.
And
Hello.
then I'd say, if you don't make your numbers next week,
don't come back.
I'm going to bring Norma in here. This is serious.
Wow.
I said, I'm going to bring Norma in here, and she is going to rake you through the coal.
Oh, wow.
And it got to be a joke. We'd have mastermind meetings, and they'd say, did Norma
is she here? Yeah. What's going on?
Did she ever come and talk to you? And some of them she did.
Oh, wow.
So you don't want to hear her.
There you go. There you go.
She would just say, why do you want to waste your money? Why you waste your time? If you do what he says,
you're gonna
become
win.
Really successful.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you just wasted all of this time and effort.
Right.
So having a mentor that holds you accountable, I know
you have
one, and I've had several.
Yes.
That's a really good tip.
Absolutely. Wow.
It'll change. It'll really change you.
Absolutely.
Mentors are really important.
Absolutely. Y'all, at this point, I want you to make sure you have your pen and paper out, because here's what I want you to know. If you find yourself, oh, I don't know anybody, I don't know who could be my mentor, here's the deal. If you see somebody that you admire, and I'm not even saying that person has to be a gazillionaire. They don't have to be a gazillionaire. They could be your local pastor. They could be somebody you know from business, somebody at the, Chamber of Commerce. It could be anybody that you value in high esteem, because that's what it is, y'all. One of the things that I realized is it's about a mindset change. If you knew that the scripture says exceedingly and abundantly, do you even know what abundant means? Do you even know what exceedingly means? When the scriptures say that, that's for you. It's not just for me, because I'm going to get my exceedingly and abundantly. Trust and believe I'm going to do the work to do that. But you've got to believe that for you. I hear my friends all the time say, you've had a Cinderella story. No, ma'am, I haven't had a Cinderella story. I worked like a crazy woman for 1 year under Mike. I worked like a crazy woman. I really did. But guess what? I've been able to live off of that work for the past 20 years. I have never marketed as much as I did that first year, and have had a successful business. Last 20 years, $11.8 million. So when I tell you that it works, it works. It definitely works. Now, these past several years have been very small for me, but thank God I haven't had to do much, because my husband was sick, y'all. So I'm telling you, when you put your mind to what you want to do, you will not fail. Talk to us a little bit about just having that grit and having that determination to win.
Cheryl, there's 7 secrets of success.
Ooh, y'all, 7. Y'all better write it down.
And what you're talking about is every time you say something, you're talking about one of the secrets.
Okay.
Let me just go through them.
Okay.
And you'll agree with me.
There you go. I'm
sure. The first one is you have to get your mind right.
Yes.
You have to know what it is you want.
Yes.
Have a burning desire to get there, and then have faith.
Yes.
You have to believe with all your heart and soul and mind that everything is going to work out. You're going to get to where you want to go. That's the first one.
Yes.
The second one is seek wisdom.
Yes.
You need to look. You can't know everything. You need to read every day. You need to listen.
Yes.
YouTube's just wonderful.
It is. It is.
There's some actually some pretty good TV shows now about entrepreneurs and the foods and the things that made America great.
Hello.
And you need to seek out a mentor.
That's
Either
it.
a paid. If you don't have any money, you can. Look, you can call her. If you can get Cheryl's number and call her, she'll answer your questions. You can call me. I'll answer your questions. Walt Disney said, there's no lack of people willing to tell you what you need to know if you're willing to ask.
Right.
You just need
That's
to seek
it.
out.
That's
and
it.
Eventually, you're going to realize, well, I can't take advantage of these people anymore.
Right.
And you'll be doing better. You'll have more coming in. You go to them and say, here, help me. How much does it cost?
Right.
And I've had students that came in. I can think of one little girl that came in. She could barely speak English.
Right.
She's in the book, by the way. She
Really?
wrote a testimonial in the book.
That's awesome.
She could barely speak English, and she wanted to learn to do real estate investing. And so when I told her how much it was, she just got up and left.
Did she?
So about 5 weeks later, she came back in with a check.
No.
And I said, what happened? She said, I went and talked with your students. She said, I went and talked with your other students, and now I know this is what.
It's worth
it.
it.
She said, this is all I have. And I said, that's enough. And so in her testimonial, she said, I made 10 times that much money in the first year.
Wow.
10 times. And now she's a multi-millionaire. My students have done so much better than me.
Wow.
But I can tell you story after story. I had a retared school teacher that came in. He'd never been in business in his life, never done any real estate. He didn't have very much money, but he said, I think you can teach me. In 90 days, he had over $2 million.
No.
Multi-millionaire in 90 days.
Wow.
Starting from scratch with no money. So one of the quotes in the book says, if you're not getting what you want, there's something you don't know.
Right.
But what it is there's somebody out there that knows.
No, just ask them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And if you know where you want to go, let's say you want to be a veterinarian.
Right.
What should you do?
Right.
Well, you should look in the yellow pages and find a veterinarian and go talk to them.
Hello.
Say, hey, tell me about being a veterinarian.
Hello.
Is it fun? Can you help
Yeah.
me? Can I help you? What if I work for you for free?
Hello.
You know, what schools are best? I mean, once you know what you want, you're 90% there.
Absolutely.
And then once you believe and have a burning desire, you're 98% there.
Wow.
So
I love that. I love
So
that.
how far did I get? All right, get your mind right.
Yeah.
Seek wisdom, develop skills.
Develop
now,
skills.
that's number 3. In any business or sport, I'm watching basketball, March Madness. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, I love to watch them pass. They'll be running one way, looking somewhere, and pass the ball all the way across the court and hit a guy that's free for
Wow.
a 3-point shot. That's a skill that's
Yeah.
developed. And
Right.
if you want to play basketball, you got to be able to dribble, you got to be able to shoot, run,
Right,
pass,
right.
do defense. But it's that way in business.
It
it's
is.
that way in any sport or any business. Now, business skills normally fall under these 5 categories. I call them the 5 M's. Mining, money, maintenance, marketing, and managing.
Wow.
Mining is finding a product. Money is finding the money to run your business.
Yes.
Maintenance is putting it together. Marketing is what you're doing right
Right,
now.
right.
And then managing your economy. So develop skills. Get your mind right. Seek wisdom. Develop skills. Make detailed plans.
Wow.
Make detailed plans.
Yes.
Now, no one in their right mind would build a large building without a set of blueprints.
Yes, that's true.
Well, don't you want to build a large business where
Business,
you're making
yes.
millions of dollars?
Yes.
Well, you better know
How to
where-
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What to do first and second and
Yes.
third, or you may end up with a building and the plumbing hadn't been put
There
in.
you go. There you go. Definitely.
So the next one is form great alliances. You know, having a mentor is a great alliance. Having good employees. I
Right.
always say, there's always somebody that can do things better, faster,
Yes.
and cheaper than
Ooh,
you.
Lord, yes.
Delegation's important.
It is. It is.
And then the last one is to seek wisdom. I left out. Take massive action.
Okay.
And in real estate, massive action would be, I have my students say, okay, I'm going to make this many offers. Because
Okay.
that's the main thing. You know,
Okay.
I'm going to see this many homes. I'm going to do this and this. I'm going to make this many offers. So if they come in and they had planned to make 20 offers,
Right.
and the sun was shining and they didn't have a coal and
Right.
they made 20 offers,
Right.
I'd say, is that massive?
Wow.
You just made 20 offers. That's what you plan to do.
Right.
Massive is planning to make 20 and making 45.
Wow. Yeah.
But if you have a cold and it's snowing outside,
Right.
and you come in and you made 20 offers, that's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to do more than the average person to get more than the average person.
Yes.
You have
Absolutely.
to be willing. And then the last one is persistence.
Yes.
Every time you get knocked down, you get up and dust your pants off and say, what did I learn? And head for your goal again.
Yes.
Again, you got to know what your goal is. So those are the 7 secrets, and I have a book coming out about those, and they're also laws of nature.
Yes.
The laws of nature for success, and that one's coming out soon too.
Absolutely. That is amazing. Y'all, one of the things that I always tell anybody, any woman that I'm coaching, because y'all know I coach middle-aged women who want to start their empire, I tell them you can't see the picture if you are the frame. And what that means is you're sitting there thinking, man, I want to be a millionaire. I want to do whatever. But you don't know any of the steps that it requires because that's the frame. That's what's holding the picture up is the framework. The frame is holding it up. So why don't you get you a good frame? I like frames that are cute. I like frames that are mirrors. I like frames that are, but that requires me holding up my hand, going to a micro, going to a dentist, going to somebody and saying, hey, will you help me finding out what the investment is? Oh my God. Okay. Can I afford that investment? You know, and talking to them and saying, hey, I really do want to do this, but it may take me 6 months to get this kind of money. And he would say, okay, just stay on my waiting list. We'll circle back around every 3 months, see how things are going, whatever. People are not without a plan. But what it is we're sometimes embarrassed to say, I just say, Dennis, your training is $5,000, $10,000. We're embarrassed to say, I really don't have that $5,000. And we don't even give you a chance to say, well, why don't you plan it out for 6 months? And, you can figure out how you can do it or whatever. You don't even give him a chance to tell you how you can have it. Because it may just be something simple as giving up your Starbucks. It may be something simple as don't go on vacation this year. Because when you take away your vacation this year, I'm going to teach you something where you can vacation the rest of your life. Every month, if you want to go on a vacation, you can go on a vacation. If you invest right now, and that's what I learned through coaching, y'all, because I've always known I'm always going to be a person that's going to be a high action type of person. But with that comes, you need that skill. You need that blueprint. You need that person taking you. You need to be, one of the things, Alex Hermosi is somebody that I follow. Do you follow him? He's really cool. He always says, you're really not making money until you're at $3 million a year. So now it's like, oh man, I'm not even making money yet. Alex Hermosi said, you got to be at $3 million a year to be making money. And it's just like, I've heard that because I'm always listening. In my car, it's University on Wheels, y'all. I don't listen to the radio no more. I'm trying to do something. I'm in a season in my life. November, I turned to one of those wonderful numbers. And it's like, okay, so that means I have, in my mind, if I live to 100, I'll have 40 years left or whatever. If I live to 80, I only have 20 years left. So my thing is, what am I going to do from 60 to 80 to set up my family to have this massive legacy? That's where I am right now. So if it's working the next 5 years, if it's working the next 10 years, whatever, planning for all of that. And if I want a vacation every month, yeah, that's what I want to do. Just a 3 or 4 day vacation. It ain't got to be 10 days, y'all. I just like a little something, just a little somewhere, fly somewhere, enjoy it, and come on back home because I don't want to be gone too long. But I want that option, y'all. So life is about option. Life is about choices. Tell us a little bit about the people that you've known that have made some incredible choices. They may have made a sacrifice at first, but it's yielded them a perfect life. That lady that you spoke about, I mean, she's a multimillionaire now. That was a choice she made, y'all.
That's right. Well, if you go to realimpactbook.com,
yes,
and get the book, Real Impact Daily Inspiration. When I was writing the book, nobody had read it, so I couldn't get testimonials or some forward for it. So I thought, I'll just ask my students.
Good
so the
idea.
very first part of the book is 5 or 6 pages of my students saying, you better listen to this guy.
Yes.
Because
yes,
it will change your life.
Absolutely.
And then they'll say, look what happened to me.
Hello.
So rather than me trying to say that,
right, get other people.
Later on, I'm going to show you a way so that you can go and read that. And
there you go.
Won't cost you anything.
There you go. I love that. I love that, y'all. It's about service to others, right? So one of the things God has always said that when you have, and Zig Ziglar used to say this, more people you help, the more you're going to be helped, basically. And you're going to always have what you need if you're always constantly trying to help. I constantly try to be of service to others. Even when you think about going to different places and doing being on Mike's stage, we both shared Mike's stage, which was awesome. Yeah. And it's just there to be a service to others. Not that you got anything particular from it, but being a service to others, y'all. Tell us a little bit about service in your business, in your line of work.
My motto is improving the quality of people's lives through continuing education.
Ooh, I like that.
And so the books that I write are my legacy.
Yes.
I told Mike this before I went to speak. I said, Mike, I didn't write this book to make $1 million.
Right.
I wrote this book to help 1 million people.
Ooh, I love that.
And like Zig Ziglar said,
yes,
the more people you can help get what they want,
yep,
the more you'll get what you want.
That's it.
That's a very
That's
powerful,
so-
and it's in the book.
Yes,
and there's
so
a
good.
lot of powerful quotes in that book. Very,
Yes.
very powerful quotes.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love that, y'all. And it's about being on a journey, right? So when you decide, okay, let me wake up, because most people are the sleeping dead. That's what I tell people. Most people are just sleeping dead. They're just walking around.
That's
Okay, this is what we do. Okay, I get up at 8 o'clock and I go to work. I go to the water cooler at 10:10. 10:10.
I'm so glad you said that, because it leads into a really important point.
What's that?
Your desires are gifts from God.
Yes.
If you have a desire and say, oh, I would really love to be a nurse,
Right?
then your butt gets in the way.
Yes.
I'd love to be a nurse, but
But, yeah.
I couldn't pass it. I couldn't get into school. I couldn't
Right,
pay the money. I
right.
don't this. I don't that. The but.
Right.
You got to move your butt.
Got to move your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta
definitely.
move and replace them with an and. I
Yeah.
would like to be a nurse,
And
I met this really nice nurse that's helping me decide which school to go to.
Yes.
She's going to tutor me
Yes.
when I'm taking the classes.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you can always replace a but with an and, but when you get these desires, it's like this. Who teaches bees how to build a beehive?
Oh.
Who teaches the ants how to do the things they do? Nobody.
Right.
It's God says, do this.
Yeah.
Well, people get the same thing, but they
Yeah.
have the free will to say, well, no, I've got to go to work.
Right.
Or no, I've got this, I've got that, I've got responsibilities, I can't do this, I can't
Right.
do that. When the truth is, those desires are gifts. If you reject them, it's hurting you.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes. So
Absolutely.
you take that desire and say, oh, but I really love to do this. And the next thing you should say is,
And yeah.
I'm going to take the steps. I'm
Yeah.
today.
Definitely.
I'm doing this today, and I'm
Definitely.
doing this tomorrow, and I made this appointment. And before long, if you want to be a veterinarian, before long, there you're going to be.
Wow.
Working with little puppy dogs and
Yep.
cats. And,
Yep.
and doing
So
whatever
true.
veterinarians do. I'm just using that as an
Yes.
It doesn't matter what your goal is.
Uh-huh.
It only matters that you know what it is and that you're focused on it and that you believe you can do it.
Absolutely. That is so true, y'all. One of the things that I know for sure, y'all, Steve Harvey talks about when you get to heaven and St. Peter is taking you to all the rooms. And in one of the rooms, there's all of these boxes. And you ask St. Peter, what are these boxes? And he said, these are all of the gifts that you never asked for. You never worked for them. You never asked God for them. But they were right here with your name on them. You just never asked, you never went to work, you never did anything, because guess what? You didn't believe that they were for you. Well, I'm just telling you, y'all, there is a fantastic life on the other side of that but for you. There is. But you've got to realize and you've got to want it. One of the things for me, y'all, when I decided to open my business, it's so funny. I sat at my job for 2 years thinking, oh, no, I can't do it. I can't. I can't. I was researching. I was doing all this. I was, okay, maybe. Okay, no, I can't. Okay. And my husband just told me, either do it or shut up. He said, I'm so sick of you talking about this. 2 years you've been talking about this. The same time that I decided to launch, a friend of mine said, I'm going to do a business as well. And I said, okay, yay, let's jump together. This will be so great. My company will be 20 October 14th. She still has not jumped.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, but I've done $11.8 million as of December 2024. She's like, I know. I thought about that. I said, girl, you could have done the same thing. She's like, I just didn't see myself. And I said, I didn't see it at first, but I'm just telling you, it's just like driving from here to California. You can't see the way from Texas to California. Your headlights will only, and I don't know feet, y'all, but it's only a little bit. I'm not going to say how long. I don't know how many feet it is, whatever. You can only see the amount that your headlights will allow you to see. You drive some more, you can see some more. You go some more, you can see some more. That's the same way life is. You don't see what's going to happen at the end. We didn't know we were going to be married 30 years and Rodney was going to get sick. We had no idea. We celebrated 30 years in June. He got sick in October. So it's like if we would have known in June, we would have had a big party for our 30th year. But we didn't, because we thought, he said, we'll celebrate at 35 years, because we always celebrate. And he said, oh, let's miss this year. It's nothing spectacular happening. And little did I know that man would have never been able to dance with me again. If I would have only known. So that's why I tell people, don't wait. If God, it's something that's pricking you to call somebody, call them. If you feel like, oh, I need to go see my brother, I need to go see my sister, go. Because that's the Holy Spirit telling you to get up and do something. Now, with that being said, many times in our life, we're presented with so many opportunities. We meet so many cool people that are just there, and they're encouraging you, hey, I had something for you. I had an idea for you, but you didn't seem like you were interested or whatnot. How do you personally get to the next step? How do you encourage your staff to move forward to your next goal?
Cheryl, I'm such an entrepreneur. My brain every day goes through 1,000 different ways
Yes!
that I could do all
Yes.
of these wonderful things. And one of the things that keeps me on track is I do what I teach.
Yes.
And that is, if you form the habit of reading something positive every day that leads
Yes.
you towards your goal, you first have to have a goal.
There you go.
And everybody's mind goes in 1,000 directions, but if every day you remember what your goal is, it's like putting a rudder on a boat.
Okay.
If a boat's out in the middle of the water and there's no rudder, it may get to shore and it may get out in the middle of the sea.
Oh,
you don't know where it's going
wow.
to go.
Okay.
Okay. But if you put a rudder on it, you can go wherever you want to go. So using the book to make the habit of reading something
Yes.
positive every day
Right.
that moves you toward your goal reminds you of your goal every
Every
single day. So that when you start thinking of all these other things, you think, well, how does that relate to where I'm trying to get to?
Yes.
So it keeps you moving in the right direction. There's
That's
a lot
so
of sea out there.
That
You
is.
go in a lot of directions.
Yes. Yes.
But you pick the island that you want to land on and
Right.
keep moving in that direction, and eventually
Right,
you'll
you'll get there. So true. And I think that's the same thing, y'all, when we think about training other people or teaching other people to go after what God has for them, right? So many times we think that it's just such a little dream and it's so little and minute and whatnot. What if it's something huge? What if I told you I had no idea I would personally in my company touch 700 families? That's huge, y'all. That's huge. And when I thought about it, I thought, what if I would have never said yes? Guess what? Those 700 people wouldn't have been able to be touched by me, the Queen of Hearts, because I do things totally different. You know, one of the things that I do for my clients is every year I have a Christmas party that's like, I want them to be shocked at the end of the night when, okay, prize number 12 is an Xbox for the kids. Yay. Prize number 12 is $1,200 for the adults. And people are screaming. And they're like, what? What's my ticket number? What's my ticket number? It's that type of stuff. Mike Crow taught me that. He said, you want to be different in your marketplace. You don't want to look like everybody else. I don't look like everybody else, because people will tell me all the time, do you realize how much money you spend on that party? I spend about $30,000 on that party, y'all. But if I get 2 or 3 clients, it's so worth it, because my clients stay forever. So when you look at money out and money in, that's a small thing to do, y'all. That's a very small thing to do, and I plan it all year long, so it's yummy good. I make sure that it's something that somebody would want to come to. Even in the month of June and July, my family start calling me saying, I want on for the waiting list for the party, because I only take 240 people, y'all. So whoever gets on that waiting list, that's who's coming. And if you didn't get on the waiting list this year, guess what? You're going to be calling me in May next year, because you're going to say, y'all, she does this party, and this party is amazing. It's that type of stuff. It's that type of being so different that you have raving fans. So tell us how you teach your students to do something different.
Well, in real estate investing, the main thing is they have to make offers.
Yes.
So a lot of people want to be a real estate investor.
Yep.
And a lot of people say, I'm a real estate investor. And then when you ask them, well, how many offers did you make last week?
Right.
Silence.
None. Yeah.
Silence.
Yeah.
So what my students did that was different from everyone else was they actually did make offers because
right.
I required it, and
yes.
if they didn't, I made them feel
real bad.
Well, that's what a coach does.
Yes, yes. Scared to come in the next time. It's like, oh man, I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, but it's not a mean frighten. It's just,
right.
Oh, I just hate to let them.
Right, right.
I've had students call and say, I don't feel like coming in.
Right,
and I was
right.
like, you didn't do your numbers,
No,
did you?
Yeah.
So you can do it yourself.
Right.
I mean, you can coach yourself, but it works so much better as
Absolutely.
someone else can hold you accountable.
Yes.
Someone that knows what they're doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Keep you moving in the right direction. I think the biggest difference in my coaching and all of the other coaching, and there's some people that do this, but in real estate it was all personal. And I held every one of them accountable.
Okay.
And if they failed, it hurt me, and I let them see that.
Wow. Okay.
And I made them promise that it would never, ever happen again.
Wow.
And if it did, I was going to let Norma talk to them.
She kicks butts and take name, huh? Yeah.
She has a speech that you don't want to hear.
Wow, wow, wow. Just letting them know, huh? It's serious. I love that. I love that. Yeah, the good cop, bad cop. I love that. I love that. Definitely. So one of the things that I know for sure is that when you're developing your own go-to plan to make yourself better, sometimes you need a little bit of, okay, this is where you should be. How many people do you think realize that they're flying underneath their, their wing, underneath where they're supposed to be? I think a lot of people think that I can only go this far when they really could be up there if they just believed that they could. So how do you get people to change their belief system?
If you're coaching them personally, you are the belief system.
Ooh, I like that.
You believe
for them. Yeah.
I've had students come to me and said, no one ever believed that I could do anything before
you did.
Before I took from you, and then what I did was absolutely amazing. So if you don't have someone that you can work with like that, then you can improve your own belief system.
Yes.
By reading and studying and having a positive mental attitude. Now, one of the ways to create a positive mental attitude is to kill ants. You have to kill ants every day.
Ants.
That's any negative thought system.
Ooh, I love that. Kill ants. Okay.
When a negative thought comes into your mind, then you say, oh, no, that's an ant.
Yeah, kill it.
And you think of something positive.
Right.
You were talking about driving somewhere, and
yes.
I was thinking that's going to fit perfectly because I'm going to talk about going to Oklahoma versus going to Waco. We're in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Right.
So if you get in your car and you go to Oklahoma, you're not going to Waco.
Right.
You're going to only go one way in that car. That car will not go two different directions. You're going to Oklahoma. You're going to Oklahoma. If you want to go to Waco, you go to Oklahoma first.
And turn around.
And then you turn around.
Yeah, definitely.
And your mind and your belief system is the same way.
Right.
You can't be grateful.
Yes.
And negative at the same time.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
And so what are you grateful for? Well, when I was a little kid, I'd be moping around the house because I was bored or whatever. My mama would sit me down on the couch and she'd say, all right, you're going to start listening, talk about your blessings. What are they? Well, my mother, my father, and my grandparents, my cousins, and my friends. And she made me keep on and keep on and keep on.
Wow.
Finally, I just totally exhausted. Like,
can I give up now?
Can I go play now? I forgot about being mopey. But that was a habit early on, and being grateful is like, I call it the G vitamin. it's like taking a vitamin that makes you live longer, makes you more friendly,
Right.
helps you sleep better.
Right.
It lowers your blood pressure.
Everything.
And it's free.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I love that. Yeah, that just kind of brings me back through to fear and faith can't occupy the same space.
Right.
So are you going to be fearful or are you going to be faithful? Are you going to believe? You know, one of the things that I know that stops so many people, just like my friend and just like really me at first, was just the belief in myself, right? Knowing that, and I'm straight from Oak Cliff, so I tell people something good can come from Oak Cliff. Jesus say something good can come from Nazarene. I say something good can come from Oak Cliff, because I tell people all the time, you don't have to be a product of your environment. I'm older, y'all, so when I lived in Oak Cliff, it was amazing. But you know, when you think about different places now and you think about, man, how can anything good come from that? It's all in your mind. You can get in a book and be in Italy. You can get in a book and be in Hawaii. You can be anywhere in your mind. And it's about taking your mind to that place, right? And even though you may be in physical bad situation, if you take your mind to somewhere else and you just imagine what life, here in the radio station, we have the awesome opportunity to look out here, and it's cloudy today, but usually when we look out of this window, it is absolutely gorgeous. And we're sitting here having our radio show, and we can peek back and see just the wonders of DFW, traffic most of the time. But, you know, just having the opportunity to look out something here. When you talk to Sammy, the owner of this radio station, she said it was important to her to have a view. And I see why, because it just makes you realize that we're in the freest country. We have the opportunity to do anything in life that we want to. And even though on Facebook and online and the news and everywhere, they're talking about all the things that's going on political, but can you stop for a minute and thank God for what you have right now? A friend of mine was saying, hey, when you get old enough to be on Social Security, it may not be any Social Security. And I immediately told him, I'm not waiting on no Social Security. What are you talking about? I said, I'm going to have multiple businesses. I'm going to be multiply wealthy. I said, I'm going to have generational wealth. I don't care about no Social Security. I don't need no check from nobody. Sorry. That's not what I'm going to be looking for when I get of Social Security age. And it's that type of attitude, y'all. It's that type of attitude. What can I start? And it's about, like you said, an entrepreneurial mindset. I've always had it since I was 18. It's like, okay, I may work at this job, but I'm really you incorporated. I'm just loaning them my services for 40 hours a week plus a paycheck and health insurance and all the great stuff you get from a job. But it's when you change your mind to say, I'm you incorporated. So I can be whoever I need to be. I always will get in trouble about lunch hours because I take as much time as I want. I'm tired. I worked 1,000,000 hours for y'all, so let me do what I need to do. So it's about an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of taking charge and taking dominion over your life, just like God said. We have to take dominion, y'all. We have to be in control of what comes out of our mouth, what comes and goes in our mind. All of those things make a difference, and we have to crush those ants, like you said. And I think once we start crushing those ants, y'all, you can see a life that you only dreamed about, right? And it doesn't have to take 50 years. It doesn't have to take 20 years. It can take you a matter in 10 months, 6 months, you can change your life. So tell us about a time in your own personal life that you made a tremendous change in a quick amount of time.
I was a band director.
Oh, okay.
I had a master's degree in music education.
Wow.
I was teaching one of the largest high school bands in Georgia, but
wow.
I was not happy being a high school band director. I wanted to be a college band director.
Oh, okay.
So finished my master's degree, took my band to the Rose Bowl.
Wow. In California?
Pasadena,
yeah.
In the Rose Bowl parade. And so Georgia Tech
That
contacted me and said, we want you to be the band director here. And I thought, oh boy, that's
good.
Great.
Yeah.
Dream,
Yeah.
So I moved to Atlanta and was visiting with a friend,
Uh-huh.
and the phone rang. And he had a funny look on his face. And back then it wasn't a cell phone, it was a phone on the wall,
Right.
And he said, it's for you. And I thought, well, that's strange. I'm in a friend's house, in Atlanta. I had just got here. So it was a company in Tennessee. And they said, we want you to come up and interview for a position. And I said, well, no, I've got the perfect position.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
band director.
band director tomorrow. I signed the contract, and they said, look, let's talk. We'll give you a round-trip ticket to Memphis. We'll pick you up in a limousine. We'll buy you a steak, and we'll give you a $25 cigar. Well, now today, that would be $150 cigar.
Wow.
You know, this was back in '75.
Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't smoke. I could have got a steak in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I had my job, but a round-trip ticket in 1975, get to fly, and I was a kid. I
Yeah.
thought, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll come up there and we'll talk. I'll tell you no, and I'll be back doing
in my
the
job.
band.
Yeah.
So I went up there and I saw their facility, and it was beautiful.
Wow.
In the parking lot, it was all Mercedes-Benz.
Wow.
As far as you could see. And back then, that was the car.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that
It
was
still kind of is, y'all.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
my go-to car I want.
And so they interviewed me. They took me, bought me a steak, they offered me a cigar. I mean, it looked like a log. It was the biggest cigar
Wow.
I've ever seen. It was from Cuba.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, let's talk money. I said, okay. And they offered me 20 times what Georgia Tech offered.
No.
20 times. And actually made more than that because I got a commission on top of that.
No.
Yes. And I took it. So that day,
What, were you blown away 20 times?
yeah. Oh, and I bought a house. I bought a Mercedes.
Yeah.
I mean, I was living good. But that's when I got those 3 books. That's when my life changed from being, you know, I enjoyed teaching school, but there were lots of things at teaching school, freedoms that you didn't have.
Okay, I've never taught. So I don't
Where
know.
when you got out in the business world, then you can make as much as you want to.
Right.
In school teaching, you're going to make this much,
And that's it.
and that's it. And you can't ever make any more.
Wow.
But you get out in the business world, well, like you said, you all of a sudden there's no limit.
There's no limit.
to what
There's not.
you can do if you're willing to do what you need to do.
Hello.
So that was, and I can tell you a bunch of changes. I mean,
Wow.
let me tell you another one. This
Okay.
one's really funny because when I was in school,
Uh-huh.
I hated school. I had dyslexia and couldn't read very well.
Oh, wow.
And I was hyper. You know,
Yep.
so I would sit in class, and there was a clock on the wall, and I would count the seconds till we got to go out to another, go
Yeah.
to lunch or recess or something.
Or something, yeah.
I hated it so much.
Wow.
And so in the 9th grade, my history teacher, they had these intercoms, and the intercom would talk to the entire school, and it
Right.
said, Dennis Henson, come to the office. And,
Uh-oh.
oh my God.
What'd I
have
do?
done? So I got there, and my mother was there. And I thought,
Oh.
"Well,
Uh-oh.
this is bad.
Yeah, what you do? Yeah.
And so John Bear Graham and my mother, we went into a conference room, and he said, Miss Henson, Dennis is failing the 9th grade, and they're going to hold him back, and I don't think he'll finish school.
Oh, wow.
And she said, he told her he doesn't take books home, doesn't do his homework. He just, he's a bad student.
Yeah.
So when I got home, her and my daddy had a little talk, and I
Yeah.
passed the 9th grade.
Oh,
But
okay.
I still hated it.
Right.
The only thing I liked about school was band.
Yeah.
I was a drummer. I loved to play the drums so
Yeah.
much, and I was learning the rudiments, and I was coming along. So one day, the intercom said, we're going to have an assembly this afternoon. Come to the auditorium. I thought, oh, God, assembly, no class.
Yeah.
You get to go to the
Yeah.
auditorium.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's going
It's gonna be better in class.
than
Yeah.
So it was a college band.
Wow.
Oh, that's good. I'm in the band. They played a concert. It was pretty good. And then the band director turned around and he said, I brought a little treat for you. Our marching drum section is going to put on a little show.
Yeah.
And we were in the auditorium, and they went out in the middle of the basketball court. Have you ever seen the movie Drumline?
Yeah.
Okay, that was in 2002. Drumline was in 2002.
Okay.
And the stuff they were doing is the same stuff that these people were doing in 1963.
Really?
I mean, they put on
Wow.
a show.
It was amazing.
My mind just went.
You were blown away. Yeah.
So after that was over, I went to my
Wow.
band director and said,
I got to do that.
I got to be in that band. I mean, how do I get into that drum section?
Right.
And he looked at me. I still see his face. He said, Dennis, to get in that drum section, you got to go to college.
So that's not happening for you.
With your grades, they're never going to let you in college. And
Wow.
I said, if I change my grades, can I be in that drum section? He said, well, if you don't, you never will.
Okay.
I went and talked with every teacher that I had. I said, I'm going to college. I'm going to pass your class.
Hello.
I'm going to make an A or B. And they laughed.
They did?
They laughed in my face.
They said, not happening, huh?
But I changed my grades from D's and F's to A's and B's.
No.
I went to Jacksonville State University.
Wow.
Got the drum section. I became the section leader.
Wow.
So that's what can happen
Yes.
when you know what you want.
Yeah, I made up mine, y'all.
Yes,
I
once
made
you
up mine.
And everything changed. School was no longer terrible.
Wow.
It was a way to get me what I had to have.
Yes.
So I enjoyed it from that point. From that day, the earth moved under my feet.
Right.
You know that song?
Yep.
The direction of my life totally changed.
Wow.
And that can happen to anyone.
Anyone.
And it's
Yeah.
happened to me. I could tell you story after story
Wow.
where the same thing has happened. This kind of a change happened.
Right.
And once you realize, I want that so bad, that's called
Yeah,
a
burning desire. Yes.
That is a gift
Wow.
straight from God.
Oh, yes.
Yes. If you can develop that burning desire, you can have anything you want.
Wow.
And it's fun to get there, and the universe is coming towards you twice as fast as you're going toward them.
Yeah.
Everything. You see, I had bad grades.
Wow.
We were extremely poor. My father was a disabled veteran, and we lived on the veteran's pension out
Wow.
in the country. We were poor. I couldn't afford college. There was all the reasons that it couldn't
wasn't
ever
gonna happen. Yeah.
And it happened.
Wow, y'all, I hope y'all are encouraged. I love these type of things because not only does it have a testament of what you can do with a made-up mind, but it has a testament to what God can do. When you just accept that, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is my burning desire. I love that, and I love that we can see the magic happen when we go to work. But you see what he did? He went to all of his teachers. He said, I'm going to go from a D to an A. What do I need to do? He had a master blue plan. He had a plan. He had a plan. You're not going to do it without a plan. You're not going to just, and same thing I tell single women. Same thing I tell people that want to start a business. People are not going to stop at your door and say, hey, I'm your new husband. Hey, I'm your new business partner. I have $1 zillion to give you for you to try something that I don't even know is going to work. Those type of things are not going to happen. So if you're waiting for that, stop waiting. Just get you a plan. Just get you a plan and go to God in prayer and ask God, God, where do you see me? One of the things that I have been so slack on is everybody had always told me, you need to be a corporate speaker. Corporate needs to hear your message. Why did I talk to a guy today from a corporation that I'm booked? It's like I'm booked. I was scared. I was talking to him, phone shaking. But it's like he was a referral. Please hear my heart, y'all. He was a referral of a referral. She saw my Facebook Live and said, that's the girl that needs to come and speak at y'all's corporation. Whoa. I'm telling you, go live wherever you are. Please do some Facebook Lives, get on some stages. You don't know how you're going to connect with people. Because if it's truly a desire of your heart, God wants you to be happy. God wants you to have your desires. God knows when you get in your yummy good spot, you're going to help millions of people. I said maybe 10 years ago, I'm going to be an international motivator. Guess what? The speech that I'm doing for them in June will be live streamed in London. I called my friend. I said, I'm really going to be an international motivator. I've never had anything live streamed in London. That presentation in June is going to be live streamed in London. So now what do I need to do? I need to get prepared. I need to make sure I'm good. I need to be on every stage in Dallas, Texas. I need to be everywhere. From now to June, I need to be set. I need to be good. And when I walk through the door, I need to know that it's done. It's done. From that's going to come many other things. You've got to profess it. You've got to claim it. You've got to know that God has put you in the room for a specific reason. So I am so excited that you've been here today, Dennis. We've had our 50 minutes. Actually, we are 3 minutes over. Tell us what you want to offer to the audience.
Well, I'd like to let everyone have a copy of the ebook of Real Impact Daily Inspiration. if you go to realimpactbook.com, scroll to the bottom where it says podcast attendees, since you were here with Cheryl today.
Yes.
Click on that, put your name and email. It's an instant download. I like to say there's no strings. I'm not going to put you on an email list, but there is one string. I want you, when you read the book, to think of 5 people that it will help.
Yes.
Maybe it's a niece or a nephew that's graduating from high school or college. Maybe it's someone in business that's struggling. Maybe it's a salesman. Maybe it's someone in a nursing home. But think of that and make a list and say, I'm going to gift them this book because it will change their life. And it
Yes.
really will. It's a life-changing book. And I want you to read it yourself the way it was outlined. You don't read it all the way through. It's kind of like the Bible. If you pick the Bible up and read it from cover to cover, you're not going to get much.
Yes.
You have to contemplate what you're reading.
Yes.
Like sipping fine wine. That's what it's like. So if you want to contact me, up at the top, realimpactbook.com, it says contact us. Has my email address, my phone number. I'm available for podcasts, for speaking, for public speaking. I do business consulting. I teach real estate investing. So, or if you just need somebody to cry on their shoulder, I'll do that too.
He's available for all of those and then some. Thank you so much for being here today. This was fabulous. You have inspired me to go out and start more businesses, y'all. I'm so excited. So excited. So thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you so much, Dennis.
Thank
you too. Also being here as well. Thank you. All right, y'all, check with us next week for Tuesday Talk with the Queen of Hearts. Okay, come on over. I want y'all to meet someone real quick.
Well, just see her pretty face.
You want to say your name real quick?
Norma Henson.
Norma Henson. She's the beautiful wife. She's been laughing at us over in the corner. Y'all laughing and encouraging us. So thank you so much for y'all being here today. It has been a wonderful time today. Thank y'all. Join us next week. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Cheryl Jones, host of Tuesday Talk with the Queen of Hearts, broadcasting live each week on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central from Fishbowl Radio Network Studios. Log on to hear real talk, real guests, and real issues being solved every week. So be sure to log on each week on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central to catch Tuesday Talk with the Queen of Hearts.
Jump in.